Today I'm going to talk about Hammers of the God, which was written for OSRIC, which is a retro clone of first edition AD&D, published by Lamentations of the Flame Princess. This was back before they had their own game system. Written by James Raggi IV. For those of you who are new school players and don't realize it, the versions of D&D published by Wizards of the Coast, they're all very different from each other. But the versions that were published by TSR and their retro clones were all very, very similar. So similar you could take a module from one and run it for the other with almost no adaptation at all. In fact, when we switched from first edition to second edition, the group I was playing with did the switch by just grabbing the second edition book, and if they need to look something up, they'd look it up in the new book, and that was the whole transition. So it's written for OSRIC, and this is a dwarven tomb, a place where the king of the dwarves was buried. And he managed to fit the whole thing onto one map here, except this bit here. So, go through it a little bit. I can show you the pictures. There's different rooms for different things, but you find lots of dwarf corpses. This is a picture from history showing the room where the dwarves would shave off their beards for ritual purposes. And you wander through the dungeon. If you're able to find the secret door, you can get into this place, which is a place with big towers attached to cables that are attached to submarines. And you can use the submarine to go from one part of the dungeon to the other. There's a whole other section of the dungeon after you figure out the submarines. And there's some weird stuff in there. There's a nice picture of a dwarf door. I should mention that these modules, I don't have the original. I got the PDF and I printed it out. Okay, so to explain what this picture is, there's the map that comes with it is not really sufficient, but I drew a map that's kind of to scale so you can see. You have to climb down from the ceiling into this room here, and then you go down this corridor. That's the wrong one. Let's take her. So, I made this to scale so you can see. You're going down the corridor. It's a long, featureless corridor. Until you come to a place where there's a bridge. And so now you're in this bridge. It's kind of open air. But it's a really long bridge. And when you're in the middle of it, there's a flying monster that attacks you. There's no guardrails or anything. So, keep going along the bridge. Yeah, and during this fight with the monster, one of the players fell off the bridge. Yeah, and when you're in this cavern, you can't see the sides, you can't see the ceiling, it's too high, you can't see the bottom, and you can hear all these animals making noises. It's like movies about the jungle where there's all these animals making noises. Finally, when you make it to the other side, then you find the nest of the creature, the flying creature. And there's some cave. And then there's the tomb with a bunch of statues in there. So there's some interesting things. And the really good magical weapon in here, my players failed to find. But one of the rooms is a library. And there's a whole bunch of books. There's one book missing, so that's something you have to find. This is a list of the books in alphabetical order. And then it goes into what the books are in chronological order, when the books are written. A bunch of stuff, including a cookbook with a sample recipe for some cookies. It's a pretty good recipe. More. And so that's it. So there's 100 different books in this library. So it's a good module. I ran it as part of an Underdark campaign, and it fitted in good. This is a module that's good for Labyrinth Lord, for OSRIC, for any TSR version of D&D, and for Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Give it a try.